my book and wax friends. I'm Amber. Welcome to my channel and to my monthly reading wrap-up. So this is February's books that I read and the wax that I melted with the books. So the wax, the home fragrance component, will be at the end, and I will hopefully remember to do timestamps for you guys so you can pick and choose what you want to watch. So thank you for joining me. First off, let's look at my official TBR. On the TBR, I was able to finish 5 out of the 7 books. The 2 books that I didn't finish, I actually DNF'd. So that was, as you can see, the Foxglove King. I just couldn't get into it, so I decided to stop reading. Maybe I'll come back to it, maybe I won't. And then yours truly, there was just a lot of language in it, and I just wasn't feeling it. I still plan on reading Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez as well. And because it is on my 25 books I want to read in 2025. So I'm still planning on giving that one a shot. And we shall see. I've heard such good things about it. I hope I can get to it. Anyway, okay, so let's talk about the books that I did read. So a total, including the 5 that were on my official TBR, I read a total of 8 books. I'm pretty sure. I'm just double checking real quick. So there were 3 that weren't on my TBR that I did get to. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so there were 8 books. So let us get to it. The first book I read for the month of February was Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. And this was for the prompt Instagram rec. So this is a really cute book. It is the second in the When in Rome series. You don't necessarily, they're like interconnected standalones. I feel like you should read the first book because you do get the other characters are definitely involved in all the other books that are in the series, just not as main characters. So I do feel it's probably a good idea to read them, but it's not absolutely necessary. You're not going to be confused with the story if you don't. So this is about a girl named Annie. She is Annie Walker. She is the youngest sister of a group of 4 siblings. The oldest is Noah, and he is one of the main characters in the first book, When in Rome. So Annie is a florist, and she is very much like an introverted type of person. She gets awkward in social situations, specifically when it comes to dating. And she wants to date, but she doesn't know how to date, is pretty much what it comes down to. And then she's always perceived as this like sweet, innocent angel type of person, is what her older siblings have always just kind of put her up on this pedestal. And she kind of wants to find herself along with finding the one. And so a guy comes along who is the bodyguard of the other main character of When in Rome. He was her bodyguard, and his name is Will, right? I'm sorry, I'm looking. Yeah, there's a couple books with the guy's name's Will, so I just wanted to make sure. So his name is Will, and he decides, Annie, well, through some finagling of Annie's older sister, she asks Will, or Will finds, they come to an agreement that he is going to help her learn how to date. So it's kind of a fake dating situation. So he's there to help her to overcome her uncomfortableness and being awkward and knowing how to date is pretty much what it is. Go out on dates with guys. And so the story stems from there. It was very cute. I did really enjoy this one. I gave it a 4.5 stars. There is a bit of language in it, as far as bad language goes. It is a closed door romance though, but there is some like leading up to the closed door stuff in it, so just be aware. But overall, super cute. I did relate to Annie a lot. I can be a little awkward in situations, social situations. I am an introverted type of person, so I did relate to her quite a bit. And it was just cute. It was very cute, and I really enjoyed it. So that is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. The next book I read was, I had to return it to the library, so I'll put it right here for you. It was Where the Library Hides by Isabel Ibanez, and this was the second book in the, I don't remember what the duology is called, but the first book is, I can't even remember the name of the first book. Are you serious? What is the first book called? Where the River, I don't know. It's an Egypt type of fantasy. I'll put it down here for you. So this is the final book in the duology, and I gave it 3 stars. I was a bit on the disappointed side because I did really enjoy the first book a lot, even though I don't remember what it's called. What the River Knows. That's it, right? Again, I will have put it down here for you. It's about a girl whose name is Inez. And in the first, I can't say too much about the plot of this one, but in the first book, she is living in Argentina. She is Argentinian and Bolivian, and she lives with her aunt while her aunt lives with her while her parents are in Egypt excavating. They're archaeologists type of people. And this is during the late 1800s or mid to late 1800s. And so they're finding all the relics, and there is a little bit of a fantasy element with some magic in regards to the story too. A lot of the relics will have like remnants of magic to them. And Inez ends up finding out that her parents have gone missing and are, she's told that they're dead because they've gone missing. And she doesn't know much more than that. And she is like, I need to find them. I don't think they're dead. And so she takes the boat by herself all the way to Egypt to try and solve what is happening. She goes to meet her uncle, who is also an archaeologist and was part of the crew, and finds out he doesn't want her there. He wants to protect her. And she gets involved with a guy who's like the uncle's right-hand man. His name is Wit. And they have some good like banter, and I enjoyed the relationship specifically in the first book. In regards to the second book, like I said, it was only 3 stars for me. It just had a different feel than the first one. The first one had a lot of like going on this trip to find Cleopatra's tomb and trying to figure out some things in regards to, of course, the mystery behind her parents missing, probably dead. And with the second book, a lot of it didn't have the same feel. It didn't have that like archaeologist type of adventure that you get in the first book. A lot of it was kept to one place, and then when you got to Where the Library Hides, that is the name of the book, it was barely, you were barely there. So it definitely felt different. And then the relationship between Inez and Wit, there was a lot of miscommunication, but not even that. It just wasn't the same. The cliffhanger that was at the end of the first book, you find out like right away, right away from the beginning of the book, what that was. And I didn't like that element of the story of what happens. Thankfully, things may or may not get worked out. And yeah, so I liked it. Compared to the first book, it just didn't hit me the same way. So that is where the library hides. Okay, the next book I read was Daughter of No Worlds, and this was for the prompt, published in 2019. This I gave 4 stars to. I really enjoyed the story a lot. It is about a girl named Tasana. She is a slave. And at the beginning of the book, she was told by her master that if she earned a certain amount of money, that she could buy her freedom. Well, at the beginning of the book, she ends up having the money to buy her freedom. And so she goes to, I don't even remember what his name was, but she goes to her owner, and things develop from there, to where she ends up having to flee from where she has been a slave, like the country that she is in. And she goes like across I think there's an ocean. I'm pretty sure there was like an ocean. She goes across the ocean, very sick and wounded from the experience that she had. And she wants to get to this other place that has like people that are develop magical abilities, which she does have some magical abilities. And so she has been told by one of the guys that is from that place that would come visit, I would like to teach you, you always have a place here type of thing. And so she goes to that other place. Zareth is the name of the guy that told her this, that would come to visit their country, the country she lived in. And so she, in desperation, goes to this other place, this other country, and I don't even remember what it is. It's hard when it's a book that's from the beginning of the month to remember certain things. And so she gets there through different things that develop. She's healed, and she ends up being mentored by a man named Maxentarius. He goes by Max, and he hasn't like mentored anyone in a long time. And he ends up mentoring her, even though he does it unwillingly at first. And so her whole goal in all that is to free the other slaves that are in the country that she came from. And so her goal to learning to wield her magic better is to do that. And so that's where the story goes. I don't want to give away too much, but it was really good. I really enjoyed it. There were some twists in it that I was not seeing coming that did come. 4 stars, because even though I really was engrossed in it, there's a lot of language, tons of F-bombs and stuff. But I was so engrossed in the story and wanting to know what was going to happen that I tried to disregard it all. So that being said, I won't continue the series just because of how much there was in the first book. But I did really like Tasana. I did really like Max. It was a slow burn relationship. There is one open door scene towards the end of the book, though, just to be aware of that as well. But because of the whole profanity, how much there was, I won't continue. So I did spoil myself with the other books. I found out what happened, and definitely even more twists that end up happening in the next two books. So if you're not bothered by language, I say definitely give this series a shot. So Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. And the series is called The War of Lost Hearts. So, yeah, 4 stars. Okay, the next book I read is She Really Going Out With Him by Sophie Cousins. And this was for the prompt has a prologue. So this was a romance, and I gave it 3.5 stars. It is about a lady named Anna Appleby, and she works at a magazine in Bath. I think she lives in Bath, England. So it takes place in England. And she has been recently divorced. Well, like a year prior, she was divorced. And she is still trying to struggle with dating. And she does kind of an advice column in the magazine. Well, the magazine ends up going to be bought out by some other company, and they want to take the magazine in a different direction. And so she ends up having to pitch an idea to the head of the magazine, along with another magazine writer. I think his name is Will too. Yeah, Will Havers. And he's kind of her nemesis there at the magazine. And they end up kind of pitching an idea together. Well, she pitches an idea and he kind of gloms on to the idea as well, to where she is trying to date by non-electronic means, and she's letting her children, who are like 8 and 5 or 12 and 5 or something like that, so she's letting her children choose who she's going to go out with. So they pick, and then she asks the person. So her way of dating is that way for the column, and then Will Havers is doing like the opposite, and kind of the equivalent though to whoever her date is. He's doing it electronically. So it is kind of an enemies or nemesis to lovers type of situation, type of trope. And it was really cute. I did really enjoy it. There was no, I'm trying to remember if it was an open door or closed door. I feel like it was slightly like just a cracked open door, but it wasn't intense at all. And then the language was minimal as far as profanity goes. Still a little bit, but not a ton. So 3.5 stars. I did really enjoy it. I do recommend this if you're looking for a fun, different type of romance situation. So that is She Really Going Out With Him? The next book I read was one that I was so excited that came in. So this was published in February, and it is the third book to the Emily Wilde series, or Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales by Heather Fawcett. And I gave this 5 stars. I was so happy to be back in the world with Emily and Wendell and everybody else, and I enjoyed how this story came full circle. You did get to see some characters that were in the first 2 books, which I did enjoy that, and I felt like it was a really good conclusion to Emily and Wendell's story. I hope maybe we'll get a novella out of it, maybe someday, or type of thing. But I really did enjoy it. It was a different type of feel slightly to the first books because we were in a different situation than we were in the first 2 books. And I can't say too much because I don't want to spoil anything. But the synopsis of the first book is Emily Wilde is a professor at Cambridge. I think it was Cambridge. And they live in a world where there are fairies. Fairies are common knowledge, and she is a professor who studies fairies, and she is writing an encyclopedia in the first book. And she goes to this really remote northern island where it's snowing most of the year, and to find these fae that are called the Hidden Ones, that people have never actually, well, people that have seen them, they don't come back type of thing. And so she goes to research and find out if they're really there, if they're really, or they're just a myth. And it stems from there. Her, another professor who's kind of her rival, Wendell Bamblebee, shows up as well, to kind of jump in on her research. And yeah, it stems from there. So it is a more cozy type of fantasy. The first book, the stakes aren't super high. I would say towards the end, there's a little bit of higher stakes. The second book has a little bit more stakes, in my opinion, but it's still along the cozy side of fantasy. And then this one, you get a little bit more stakes, but it still feels cozy. And like I said, it's slightly different than the first two, but I still loved it. 5 stars. So that is Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. Okay, after that, I read Dungeons and Drama by Christy Boyce, or Boise. And this is a YA romance. And look how cute the cover is. I really enjoy the cover. I think it's so cute. And this one I gave 3.5 stars to. This is a book about a girl named Riley. She is like a theater nut. She loves musicals. It's like her life is musicals. Well, at the beginning of the book, she does something to where she ends up being grounded. And her punishment is she has to go work in her father's game store. So her father and mother are divorced, and her father and her have kind of a rocky relationship. She definitely took the side of her mother in the divorce, and she feels like her father doesn't really care about her. He cares about his store, and that's pretty much it. So her punishment is to go work in her dad's store. And at the store, there is a boy that works there whose name is Nathan. And he is all about Dungeons and Dragons. And he has a group there that plays, him and his friends. When he's not working, they play this game. So what ends up happening is there is this some fake dating that happens because Riley's ex-boyfriend is on her case about how he feels like she's not over him, even though she is. And then on Nathan's side, there's a girl he wants to impress that comes into the store that he has a crush on, but she doesn't want to give him the time of day. She's just stringing him along. And so Riley proposes this fake dating situation because she knows the type of girl that this girl is, to where if she sees him not giving attention to her but to Riley instead, that will lead to jealousy and she'll want to start actually dating him. So that's where it starts. Super cute. I really enjoyed it. I thought Riley was a bit annoying, at least at first, until she starts, she starts growing and changing. But at first, with her whole obsession with musicals, not that I don't love musicals, because I do, but that was her life, and her assumptions about people. That was what was kind of annoying to me. But her and Nathan's developing friendship into a relationship, or even if it was, fake for most of it, it was really cute. They were really cute together. I like to see the development of Riley her relationship with her father too. And yeah, it was really cute. I enjoyed it. And if you're looking for a clean read for you or for your kiddos, this is clean. There's no language and there's no sex scenes at all. So yes, very, very cute. Dungeons and Drama. I may or may not pick up I know there's another book out too. I may get to that one. We'll see. Okay, the next one after that is another Sarah Adams book. This is her brand new one that came out in February or end of January. It is Big, Borrow, or Steal. And this is also in the When in Rome series. It is about the oldest sister of the Walker siblings, and her name is Emily. And this one I gave 4.75 stars to. I really, really enjoyed this. So Emily is very much a type A person, and she is a very mothering type of person. So there's a tragedy that happens to the siblings, and you find out about it pretty recently or at the beginning of the When in Rome book. So I don't feel like it's necessarily a spoiler. But I'll just say there's a tragedy that happens to the siblings when they're younger. And so it leads to Emily kind of becoming a mother figure to her siblings, to where she's always the one taking care of them and feeling like she's got to be the one taking care of them and solving their problems and putting things on the back burner for herself type of thing. Well, this guy who she's kind of been rivals, nemesis with, what is his name? Jack. That's right. Jack Bennett. They've been rivals since like college, always competing with each other. And it stemmed from an accident that happened where he spilled coffee all over her. And they had been like enemies since then. Well, he was working at the elementary school where she worked in Rome, Kentucky. She is a second grade teacher. He was as well. He ended up moving away at the beginning. It talks about him moving away to get married. He moves to another state. And then the engagement ends and he comes back and he gets his job back. This takes place during the summer though, so you don't get to see the elements of them teaching, but it's talked about a lot. It's definitely a big part of their persona. And they are definitely they're not opposites at all. They are very much similar in personality, and I feel like that's where a lot of the clashing happens, because they're pretty much like the same person, just one male, one female type of thing. I loved their banter. They were so funny. I loved the not realizing how much they actually liked each other underneath all the animosity and the competition and everything else like that. And underneath everything else, they do actually care about each other. Well, what happens is Emily, as kind of a therapy for herself, she is writing a book, and it's a smutty romance book. And one night she gets drunk in her home and she decides to send it to a publisher. Well, she accidentally doesn't send it to a publisher. She sent it to her very conservative principal, and she starts freaking out. Thankfully, she realizes her principal is gone on vacation for a few weeks since it is the summer, and so she enlists the help of Jack to try and get this email back to save her what she feels like she's going to lose her job if the principal opens this email and reads this smutty book. So it stems from there. It's really, really cute. This one, I talked about Annie being someone I relate to a lot. I also relate to Emily a lot. I am very much of take care of other people type of person, and put myself on the back burner, although I've learned to get better not prioritizing myself as well. But I'm very much a want to take care of other people type of person. So I related to Emily a lot. I thought this was super cute. FYI, this is, like I said earlier, Sarah Adams usually is a closed door writer. This one does have 2 open door scenes, but she does warn you at the beginning of the book where those chapters are. So if you want to skip them, you can. They weren't super detailed. They were pretty tame as far as an open door scene is. But just to be aware that that is in there. So that is Beg, Borrow, or Steal. Then the last book I have is Pollyanna, which was, what was this? This was A Book Older Than You. So this is a children's classic, definitely older than me. And this is about a girl named Pollyanna. This is by Eleanor H. Porter. And this is about a girl who ends up orphaned. Her dad, who was a pastor, passes away, and she goes to live with her aunt, and her Aunt Polly, actually. And her Aunt Polly is a very strict, no nonsense type of person. And it's about Pollyanna coming and changing everybody's lives, not only her Aunt Polly, but everyone around her. She plays what's called the glad game, and to where she finds a positive spin to whatever may come around that she used to play with her dad. And yeah, it was super cute. I have watched the movie, and Disney movie that was with Haley Mills, and I really enjoyed that. I watched it back when I was a kid, and so I wondered how this would compare to that. I would say between the movie and the book, I actually like the movie better, because this is written for children, so there isn't a ton of detail in the book. They added more detail, I feel like, in the movie, and so I enjoyed that more than the book. But I did really enjoy the book, and I gave it 3 stars, so that is Pollyanna. Okay. Moving on now to the wax that went with all the books I have to share. Some of these are available now, some aren't, because it was February. It was the end of the fall-winter catalog, and now we've moved into the spring-summer, so some of these scents are retired, just so you know. I'll let you know one way or the other if you can get them now. So with Practice Makes Perfect, I decided on Sweetheart Sugar Cookie. This was a Valentine's scent. I don't think you can get it anymore. I think it retired on March 1st, but it's so good. It's like an almondy cherry sugar cookie, and sugary sweet to match the book, I felt like was a perfect fit for sure. Then for, oh yeah, I don't have the book, for Where the Library Hides, I did Midnight Mahogany. This is a very earthy type of scent, and for them being in Egypt and all of that old world type of feel, this one felt like it would be the perfect match. So this one is not available. That was part of fall winter. Then for the next one, Daughter of No Worlds, I did Cherry Clove Chutney. This was part of the Bring Back My Bar. That was in January, and then it did go into February as well, but it's not available now. But this is a very spicy cherry scent. Very mild on the cherry. I don't really get cherry all that much at all. It is clove and cinnamon and all those type of exotic spices. And so I felt it was a good fit with Daughter of No Worlds. Then after that, what was the book? Is She Really Going Out with Him? This one, I chose Pink Berry Sandalwood. So this one is available. You can get this on my website right now. It's sandalwood. It's got that berry sweetness mixed into, I think there's vanilla as well. This is a very, very nice, kind of more sophisticated, perfumey type of romantic scent. So I felt it would work really good with the more adult, is she really going out with him romance. So then after that is my beloved Emily Wilde's Compendium of Lost Tales. With that one, I chose a brand new to the catalog scent. So this one is available now, and it is Pearlescent Coast. This one I felt would be a really good fit because it's a aquatic, sweet scent, and there is a like lake element in this book that comes to play. And so this felt like it would be a really nice choice to go along with that book. Then after that, for Dungeons and Drama, I chose Petals and Peaches. And this one is available. This was a scent of the month last month or January. I think this is January actually, but it is still available for the next couple months. Love the scent. This is so pretty. This is a perfumey peach, and it's so, so pretty. So I felt it, again, romantic in nature, that it would work for that more sweet YA romance. Then for Beg, Borrow, or Steal, I went with another Valentine's scent, Apricot Cloud. And this is also along the lines a little bit as Petals and Peaches, except you get apricot, and I feel like this one is more of that musk element compared to what you get in Petals and Peaches. This one, unfortunately, again, isn't available because it is part of the Valentine's wax. Then lastly, for Pollyanna, I did one that I thought was just cozy and comfy and just sweet and happy, and that is Woolly Slippers, as you just saw. Let me show you again. This was part of Bring Back My Bar too. So no longer available, but this is like a vanilla lavender scent. Very pretty. So nice. So that is Woolly Slippers. So that is it, you guys. That is everything that I read for the month of February and the wax that went along with it. Please let me know if you've read any of these books or what were some things that you did pick up during the month of February. I enjoy your comments. I love reading and communicating with you guys. So yes, please leave a comment or just a picture of a book. Give me an emoji of a book, just so I know that you're here. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And until next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now.